Have you ever looked at a forecast, seen a big storm coming, and felt that little knot of anxiety in your stomach? You run around bringing in the patio furniture, maybe taping the windows, hoping and praying that your home, your sanctuary, can just hold together through the chaos. It's a vulnerable feeling. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine watching that same forecast with a sense of calm confidence, knowing that your home isn't just waiting to be tested, it's built to pass that test with ease. What if you could build not just for comfort, but for centuries? To do that, we need to talk about the undisputed masters of building things to last. We need to talk about the Romans. That's right, the guys in sandals and togas. While we're worrying about a few shingles flying off, the Romans built structures 2,000 years ago that are still standing today. The Pantheon, with its massive unsupported dome, has been staring down storms since 126 AD. Aqueducts stretch for miles, defying gravity and time. So, what did they know that we've maybe forgotten? It wasn't just about throwing more stone at a problem, it was about a philosophy of engineering. And today we're going to adapt that philosophy, the Roman secret, to unbreakable homesteads. Let's start with the first principle, the unshakable foundation, or what I like to call the Roman grid. The Romans understood that a structure is only as strong as what it's sitting on. But they took it further. They realized that strength wasn't just about brute force downwards. It was about distributing load and stress laterally across a grid. Think about the Roman Colosseum. It's not a solid block. It's a series of arches and vaults, a masterpiece of distributed pressure. When the wind blows against it, the force is channeled through this intelligent grid down into the ground, instead of concentrating on one weak point. So what's the modern homestead application? Look at your roof. In a high wind, a typical roof acts like a giant sail, trying to lift off your house. The Romans would tell you to stop thinking of the roof as a separate thing and start thinking of it as part of the grid. This means ensuring your roof is properly tied down to your walls with hurricane clips or structural connectors, not just nails. It means thinking about how your walls are tied to your foundation. This creates a continuous load path, a Roman grid that turns your entire structure into a single, unified, resilient unit. When the wind tries to get under your eaves, it's not just fighting the roof, it's fighting the entire interconnected skeleton of your home. It's the difference between trying to lift a single floorboard and trying to lift the entire floor. Now let's talk about the material that made Rome legendary, Roman concrete. While our modern concrete often crumbles after 50 years, Roman concrete harbors they poured 2 millennia ago are still intact, submerged in the Mediterranean Sea. Scientists have only recently figured out why. Our concrete uses Portland cement, which is brittle. The Romans used a mix of lime and volcanic ash, which created a rare crystal called a luminous tobermarite when it reacted with seawater. This stuff actually gets stronger over time as microscopic cracks are healed by ongoing chemical reactions. It's a self-healing material. Now, I'm not saying you need to import volcanic ash from Italy for your next shed foundation, though if you do, send me a postcard. The lesson is in the principle, longevity over convenience. The Romans chose materials for the long haul, not just the easy option. For us, that means when you're building, think about upgrading your materials for critical structures. Use pressure-treated lumber for posts that contact the ground, not just any old wood. Consider using composite materials for siding and trim that won't rot or warp with moisture. Choose metal roofing over asphalt shingles for its longevity and wind resistance. Every material choice is a vote for how long you want your homestead to endure. Be more Roman. Vote for the centuries. But a storm isn't just wind, it's water. And here the Romans were absolute geniuses. They practically invented civil engineering. Their entire empire was crisscrossed with aqueducts bringing fresh water in, and elaborate sewers and drains taking wastewater out. They understood that water is a powerful force that must be managed, not just reacted to. The key was to give water a path of least resistance away from their structures. This is perhaps the easiest and most impactful Roman lesson you can apply this weekend. Look at the ground around your homestead. Is the earth flat, or does it slope towards your foundation? If so, you're basically inviting water to come in for a visit. The Romans would have built a gentle, consistent slope away from every building, what we now call grading. You need to create your own miniature aqueduct system. That means ensuring your gutters are clean and, crucially, that your downspouts extend at least 5 to 10 feet away from your foundation. Don't just dump the water from your roof at your feet. Send it on a journey away from your home. For areas with heavy runoff, consider a French drain, a gravel-filled trench with a perforated pipe, a direct descendant of Roman drainage systems. It's a simple concept. Guide the water before it becomes a problem. It's not sexy, but neither were Roman sewers, and they saved cities. Finally, let's talk about the Roman mindset: over-engineering for peace of mind. The Romans didn't build bridges to handle the expected weight of a cart. They built them to handle 10 times that for a century. They built in a massive safety factor. In our modern world, we're often encouraged to do the minimum to code, to find the cheapest solution. The Roman philosophy for the homesteader is to, where it counts, over-engineer. What does that look like? If you're building a deck, don't just space your joists at the maximum allowed 24 inches on center. Bring them into 16 inches. The cost difference is minimal, but the stiffness and strength are dramatically higher. When you're putting up a shed, use more screws and heavier duty brackets than the instructions call for. When you plant a tree, don't plant it where it will be fine for 10 years. Plant it where it won't ever threaten your house, even in 50 years. This mindset transforms your homestead from a collection of projects into a legacy. It's the difference between building a shelter and building a fortress. It's about looking at a coming storm not with fear, but with the quiet confidence of a Roman engineer watching a test load cross his new bridge. You built it. You know it will hold.